Buckle up, explorers. We're about to dive into a mind-blowing journey through our planet's fiery past. You might think natural disasters only happen without warning, but did you know there are some you can actually prepare for? Volcanoes, though, are the wild cards, and we've got a real showstopper on the horizon. Get ready to meet an awe-inspiring yet terrifying volcano that's making its presence known. From ancient eruptions that shaped our world to the early years of Earth's turbulent history, we're about to take you on a thrilling ride through the Earth's volcanic secrets and what this means for our future. Imagine a world shrouded in perpetual twilight. That's what happened nearly 500 years ago, when our planet was hit with an extreme climate disaster known as the year without a summer. But it wasn't just one summer, it lasted for years. A series of massive volcanic eruptions across the globe, from Iceland to Indonesia, unleashed an enormous amount of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. This toxic cocktail formed a veil of tiny particles that blocked sunlight and drastically cooled our planet. The result? A volcanic winter, where temperatures plummeted and people suffered through prolonged darkness and harsh cold. Fast forward to March 536, that's when things took a drastic turn. Reports started flooding in from all over the globe, including Constantinople, about an otherworldly phenomenon, eerie, darkened skies that seemed like the end of times. As if that wasn't bad enough, temperatures began dropping dramatically. This chilling effect lasted for years, wreaking havoc on our planet. Crops withered and died, leaving entire communities to face devastating famine, food shortages, and the disaster was so widespread, it's a miracle any civilization survived. The world was thrown into utter chaos. Get ready for a wake-up call. The extreme weather changes and dark skies caused by volcanic eruptions back in the day might sound like ancient history. But trust us, it's not just a thing of the past. Despite all our technological advancements, Mother Nature still has some surprises up her sleeve. Just think January 2022. That's when the Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano in the Pacific Ocean made headlines worldwide. After being quiet for a while, this beast suddenly erupted with unprecedented force, sending shockwaves, sonic booms, massive tsunamis, and hurricane-force winds racing across the globe. To top it off, nearby islands were buried under an astonishing 2 centimeters of ash. Talk about a natural disaster that's out of this world. Buckle up and let's dive into one of the most epic natural events of recent times. The Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano, nestled in the picturesque Tonga Islands, unleashed an explosion so massive it's hard to wrap your head around. We're talking a whopping 110 megatons of TNT energy released into the atmosphere. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 6 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The eruption was like a cosmic powder keg, blasting enormous amounts of water vapor, ash, and tiny particles high above the clouds. This wasn't just any ordinary volcanic show. It started in December 2021 but reached its peak in January 2022, shaking the globe with its sheer force. What made this event so extraordinary? The Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano's secret. It was an underwater explosion, with a shallow magma chamber just a stone's throw from the ocean's surface, making for a potentially catastrophic combination. Let's talk about why this underwater volcanic eruption was so explosive literally. You'd think that an ocean's worth of pressure would calm things down, but not in this case. The Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai volcano's shallow location beneath the sea surface flipped the script, creating a recipe for disaster. With magma just meters away from the waterline, it was a perfect storm, or rather a perfect explosion. When lava met seawater, they had an intense chemical reaction that produced massive amounts of steam and gases. This rapid buildup of pressure created an energy release unlike any other, making this eruption a record breaker in terms of its sheer force. Imagine if the volcano was buried much deeper under the ocean. The water's crushing weight would have likely muted or even stopped the eruption altogether. But with its shallow roots, Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai became a ticking time bomb waiting to unleash this mind-blowing display of geological power. Get ready for liftoff. This volcano's eruption was so epic that it shot its ash column all the way into space, literally. Imagine a giant, fiery pillar piercing the sky, defying gravity and pushing beyond the normal limits of volcanic activity. That's exactly what happened on December 20, 2021, when Hunga Tonga Hunga Ha'apai unleashed its fury, sending an unprecedented plume soaring to an astonishing 58 kilometers high. To put that in perspective, that's higher than most commercial airplanes fly. This record-breaking eruption wasn't just a sight to behold, it also had far-reaching effects on our planet. It sent shockwaves through the atmosphere, triggering a chain reaction of events, from rumbling sounds detectable around the globe to waves rippling across space itself. We're talking about a truly once-in-a-lifetime event that's still leaving scientists in awe. Buckle up, because this volcano's explosion wasn't just a local event, its shockwaves traveled around the world multiple times. But that's not all. We're talking about a massive release of energy and matter here. Imagine 140 megatons of water vapor blasting off into space at breakneck speed, creating a huge splash in our atmosphere. In fact, this eruption added so much to the stratosphere that it caused a 5-fold spike in aerosols up there. That's a lot of extra particles in our planet's protective shield. And here's where things get really interesting. Scientists think sulfur gases from the volcano could have a lasting impact on our climate. These gases can form tiny droplets called aerosols, which reflect sunlight back into space and potentially cool our planet, but not always in a good way. So, we're still learning about the full effects of this incredible eruption. Here's the cool part: these tiny aerosol particles can actually help regulate Earth's temperature by bouncing sunlight back into space. But when we talk about this volcano's eruption, things got a little more complex. The massive amount of water that exploded out with the sulfur gases had an unexpected effect. It helped create even bigger and heavier aerosols than usual. These giants took a super fast trip through our atmosphere. But here's the interesting thing. Despite all the drama, the actual amount of sulfur released was surprisingly small compared to other eruptions of similar size. So, what does this mean for our planet? Scientists are worried that this eruption might have a longer-lasting impact on global climate patterns than we thought, and could even contribute to climate change in unexpected ways. Buckle up, because the water vapor released from this massive eruption is about to have a major say in Earth's climate system. As it stays in the atmosphere for longer than expected, its greenhouse effect could shake things up big time. Think altered global circulation patterns and even worse polar ozone depletion. What sets this apart from other huge volcanic events is that instead of spewing out sulfur dioxide particles to temporarily cool us down, it pumped out an enormous amount of water vapor. This means the impact on our climate and temperatures might be entirely different from what we've seen before with those sulfur dioxide emissions. And here's a sobering statistic. Before this eruption, scientists thought there was a 50-50 chance that Earth would hit a scorching 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels at least once by 2026. But now, that likelihood just jumped up by 7 percentage points, and we're not talking about a small increase. This is a serious wake-up call. We've reached a major turning point in our climate journey. Surpassing that crucial 1.5 degrees Celsius mark is now more likely than not, and we need to take this very seriously. As scientists investigate the aftermath of this unprecedented eruption, they're uncovering some astonishing facts about volcanic behavior. Did you know that new vibrational waves linked to tsunamis in distant ocean basins have been detected? This tells us just how far-reaching the effects of this massive event truly are. But that's not all. It also broke records for lightning concentration, with levels never seen before. And here's the kicker: a huge amount of water molecules made their way into the upper atmosphere, creating a heat-trapping, moisture-rich environment. This could have a lasting impact on global temperatures and make our current climate crisis even more challenging to tackle. And let's not forget, underwater eruptions can trigger massive tsunamis by displacing enormous amounts of water. It's a sobering reminder of the immense power Mother Nature holds. Tsunamis are the ultimate ocean storm chasers. They can travel at mind-boggling speeds of hundreds of miles per hour across entire ocean basins in multiple directions. What makes them so uniquely dangerous is their massive energy reserve. Unlike regular waves created by wind, tsunamis keep this energy locked inside as they move through deep waters. But once they hit shallower coastal areas, the brakes are finally applied, and that's when things get really intense. As the tsunami slows down, its power gets concentrated, building up to an unstoppable force when it reaches the shoreline. The consequences can be catastrophic, widespread flooding, destroyed homes and buildings, and a trail of devastation all the way inland. It's a stark reminder of nature's fury and the importance of staying prepared near our coastlines. Let's talk about one of the most devastating natural disasters in recent history: the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. A colossal earthquake off Sumatra's coast shook the waters, unleashing a wall of destruction that claimed hundreds of thousands of lives across multiple nations and left coastal areas in shambles. If such an event were to happen again, we'd likely face even more heart-wrenching losses. But here's another layer to this disaster: when underwater eruptions trigger tsunamis, they don't just churn up water, they can alter the very chemistry of our oceans. The release of gases and materials into the seawater can drastically change temperature, acidity, and nutrient levels, wreaking havoc on marine ecosystems. This, in turn, affects the health and distribution of marine life, painting a dire picture for our planet's delicate balance. Imagine a massive volcanic eruption so powerful it blasts sulfur dioxide into our atmosphere. Imagine what that would do. These particles would essentially create a natural sunscreen, reflecting sunlight back into space and bringing on a temporary global cooling effect. Sound familiar? It's similar to the infamous volcanic winter of 536, where the world experienced a dramatic chill. Now, while this cooling might be short-term, its impact on weather patterns and global temperatures could last for years. And let's not forget, there's no guarantee our planet would bounce back from it unscathed. But that's not all. Underwater eruptions also have their own brand of geological magic. They help create new landmasses, reshaping the seafloor landscape in ways we can't even imagine. This, in turn, influences oceanic currents and topography, and might even trigger other Earth-shattering events like earthquakes and tsunamis, setting off a chain reaction of natural disasters that could leave us breathless. Underwater volcanoes might seem like a distant threat, but trust us, they're not to be trifled with. The areas surrounding these ocean giants can face some serious hazards. Explosive eruptions, lava domes forming underwater, and even submarine landslides that could send shockwaves through the entire seafloor. But what's really concerning is how an eruption on this scale could reshape our planet as we know it. If one were to happen again, it could bring about catastrophic consequences for our world, leaving us wondering if we'd be able to survive such a devastating event. So, can humanity weather the storm of a massive underwater volcanic eruption? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Let's get the conversation started. That's it for today's deep dive into underwater volcanoes. If you found this video as mind-blowing as we did, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and consider joining our community by subscribing to our channel. We've got a treasure trove of edutainment content waiting just for you. Stay curious, keep exploring, and we'll catch you in the next video.